allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty.
We'll take public comments on agenda items. There are none. We don't have anything. Okay. Saturday, March 4th, 2017, I went to the Fireman's Dinner at the Grand in Poughkeepsie. Many awards were given out. John Welch got 2 awards, Gloria Giuliani Award and the Frederick Godfrey Memorial Award. Tom Brown, Firefighter of the Year Award, Charlie Vanda Bogart, Lee Fielding Award, Service Awards for 50 years, Jim Smith, 25 years, Dan McMorris, and 15 years to Dan Casucci and Andrew Chafee. Congrats to all, and thank you for your service. Payroll now starts Sunday and ends on Saturday. Previously, it started on Monday and ended on Sunday. The calendar, to my knowledge, always started on Sunday and ended on Saturday.
Yeah.
It was a mess, and the payroll clerk and I worked it out, and now we're back on schedule with a normal payroll. Cricket Valley will be starting tree clearing on or about March 15, 2017 for their project. Our building department and engineer are working with DEC and public service commissions regarding their use of Sky Acres Airport facility for construction. George will keep us updated on that and with the necessary permits and stuff. March 9th, 2017, I went to the Beekman Town Hall where Dutchess County Executive Mark Molinaro presented a town hall forum on the 2017 State of the County. It was a question and answer session with residents. All residents from all towns were invited to attend, and he will be doing more of these during the course of the year. Everyone really should attend one of these. It was very informative. The blizzard of 2017. On Monday, we had a conference call. John, myself, Ryan, and I think Mary sat in with us. Had a conference call with the Dutchess County 911 officials and County Executive Mark Molinaro, and I think all other towns in Dutchess County.
Yeah, every town in the county.
Regarding a declaration for a state of emergency for all of Dutchess County. The state of emergency started at 4:30 a.m. on Tuesday for travel on roadways and parking on streets. The travel ban was lifted at 4 a.m. on Wednesday, 4:15. The parking ban lasted until 4 p.m. Wednesday. Tuesday, during the snow, there were 2 conference calls, one at 11 and one at 4. Unfortunately, I could not get through for the 4 p.m. call, but John Welch and Jake were on that call, and I was able to listen to part of the call through Jake's cell phone, through my cell phone, and the last call was Wednesday at 10 a.m. I was on the call as well as our highway superintendent and deputy supervisor. The calls were very informative, and I hope County Executive Mark Molinaro continues to have these calls during potential emergencies, and I would like to thank him and the 911 task force for doing that. On Wednesday, Dylan Miyashi from the governor's office called to see if our town needed any kind of assistance due to the storm. I contacted our highway superintendent, and things were okay, so we didn't need any further assistance, but I think it was nice that they called to check on us. And the last thing I have is to say happy birthday to John, and thank you for bringing that storm to us.
Oh, you're welcome.
Happy birthday. That was John's birthday present.
Spread the good luck around.
Yes. Okay, John, do you
All
have
right.
anything?
Not quite as eventful as you, but I must say, I did go with Steve Frazier to the Beekman Library annual meeting on the 26th of February. It was a Sunday afternoon. They gave us a good rundown. Their financial situation, which was very favorable for them. Things are right on, pretty much on budget. They're doing well. They have a lot of programs for kids and adults of any age, and they're encouraging people to make use of it. And of course, we're we're paying for their service, so I hope people do take advantage of all they have to offer. Regarding the storm, though, I must compliment our highway department. They did a good job keeping the roads open. It was a lot of hours. I don't know how many hours the plow guys put in, but it was a lot of hours. And unfortunately, our fire district, our contract plow guy, who the firehouses, for some reason wasn't able to do it. And immediately, the highway superintendent stepped up and had his men and the big equipment clear the firehouse aprons and entrance and a little bit of parking lot so we could service any emergencies, which did come up, of course, as they usually do. So many thanks to them for that. Also, there was a barn fire last Thursday, and they were very quick to respond to our need for a loader to come and quickly spread debris around that was on fire before it would spread. It happened to be at a very high point in the town where the wind was horrendous. So if they didn't bring that loader, we would have been there for days probably putting that out. And on a lighter note, I really have to give a lot of credit to our animal control officer, Mary Jean Calvi. She really takes her job very extensively. There's been a pig terrorizing the south end of Unionvale for months, literally months. And thanks to her efforts and aid from the county sheriff's office, she captured the pig on Sunday, and it's where it should be, not annoying or wrecking people's
Somebody's
property.
freezer?
Yeah.
No, I don't think so.
Not yet.
But, she processed it properly and then handed over to whoever should be taking care of it. So, and one last thing, as the supervisor mentioned, the county did a great job planning, anticipating this storm, and having resources available. I'm glad we didn't need them, but the state and the county was there for our backup if we should need any kind of additional equipment or services to deal with the emergency. And thanks to everybody in our town, things went well.
And thanks to everyone in the county and all highway departments. I just want to add to what John said. Mary Jean sent me an email, and it says, "I am very happy to report that we have hopefully solved the runaway pig issue. It was raking havoc again up the mountain last week, but was finally cornered and captured. DCSO got involved, the owner was contacted, and the pig is supposedly at his new home, hopefully far away from Unionvale." Thanks, Mary Jean. Karina?
I just want to apologize for not making it to the meeting. Last week I had some personal issues that came up, so I wasn't able to attend. But I too had gone to the library meeting at Beekman with my fellow council people and agreed. They have fabulous offerings at Beekman and all of the Mid-Hudson libraries. They were very gracious to us. I spoke to many members of the board following, and they're very anxious to work with us in the future. I know the library committee is presenting at the next meeting, so I'm excited to hear what they have to say so we can kind of move forward as a board about how we want to continue to proceed for sustainable library funding.
Yeah, sorry, I forgot to mention you were there with myself and Steve.
Oh, that's okay.
Dave?
I don't have much to say. I apologize for missing last month, but we weighed in at 7 pounds, 15 ounces, so.
You had a very good meeting.
Congratulations.
Down in South Carolina, so I couldn't get back in time. But just before I went down, I did go to the Association of Towns meetings. I attended about 10 meetings down there, and some of them I found very interesting. One in particular, with our cable contract coming up in the next few years, was a class on dealing with Cablevision, and they will audit our.
Yeah, it spooked on your foot there. I wondered why it was moving.
You know, they will audit our contract and make sure that we're getting all that we should. It wouldn't cost us anything unless they recuperate some money, but it would also tell us for the language to look and what is negotiable in the next contract. Because I know, I think, Elfrida, you were on the last committee, but they will go over everything and tell us what we can negotiate and what we shouldn't negotiate. A few of the places that we lose franchise money, so I would like to have him up here and take care of this in the future.
Okay. Steve?
I'm going to echo the previous comments about the highway department. I do snow plowing myself, was out in the middle of this the whole time it was going on, constantly passing highway trucks. They put a lot of hours in. I see that they've pushed the intersections back, which this time around has been a big problem for visibility with the size of the snowbanks. They've been around and cleared up the intersections and taken care of that for us. One thing I did notice a while out that a number of our residents still push the snow from their driveways into the streets. That's not only a violation of state law, but it creates a safety hazard. And if someone were to be injured or, have damages occur because of that, the homeowner would be held responsible for that. That's something that you really need to refrain from doing. I'm not sure how they got around that people think that's what you need to do with the snow, but you push it to the side of your driveway instead of out in the streets. So,
Is that it? No report from, I thought you were going to bring a report from,
well, with the snow,
The
getting ready
Association
for
of
the
Towns.
snowstorm and such, I've been tied up with this stuff since Sunday, preparing equipment and such.
okay, and as far as people pushing the snow out into the street, they shouldn't be pushing it out into the street, but I'm going to say about 2 years ago, the former supervisor of the town did announce at a town board meeting that it was okay to push the snow across the street as long as you weren't interrupting anyone else's property, and it was okay as long as you cleaned up in front of your driveway.
That's
And-
not what I was referring to. I'm talking about people pushing piles of snow,
And
size of
leaving
a
them
car, and
into
leaving it
the
in the
street.
street.
Leaving the road, yeah.
Right, but I'm just letting people know it is okay
I don't have an
to
issue
push
with
it
that.
across the street and clean it up. Okay. We'll go to our reports, bookkeeper.
For the month of February,
Camera, Ryan.
nope. For the month of February, the A-fund revenue
Gentleman in the eye.
was $895,195.17. The A-fund expenditures were $1,021,993.81. And so the reason that was so high is in February is when we received the bond money and paid off the band money. So it's $765,000 of revenue that we the next day sent to a bank, along with principal and interest paying down the band. So then that bond will go forward from there. And then defund revenue $4,718.49, and the defund expenditures of $115,393. In communication with the highway superintendent, obviously this was a big storm, so a lot of the salt and sand budget has been used. Again, if the highway department needs to end up going over budget in salt and sand, just remember that we didn't use any defund fund balance to offset the budget. So that fund balance has grown since a year ago. So if we need to, do something, the town has funds to do something there if that happens. Hopefully, because this was a declared disaster, the state may put in winter recovery money, like I believe they did 2 and 3 years ago. So maybe the town of Unionville will get some funding back. The checks have been received by Ms. Bonk, the tax collector. They've been deposited. So that was the A fund, the D fund, the Unionville Fire District, and that check has been, for the same amount, has been cut to the Unionville Fire District, and they've deposited that in their account. And then also the new $2,600 for the drainage district. All those have been deposited. So that's my report. Thank you.
No dancing.
Got him? Okay, I have the tax collector's monthly report. For the month of February 2017, she collected $4,172,901.85. She dispersed $2,771,599.42. General fund was $1.141583.42. Highway was $760,705. Fire district was $866,641, and the water district was $2,600. Payments to Commissioner Finance to be made in March. And that's Edna's report. Recycling, Tom could not make it tonight, so he will send a recycling report in. Parks. Okay, Jake also is not here tonight, but he did give me a report. The report for the town is the installation project at the park is progressing slowly but moving forward. Lots of snow removal and ice control. And he started the LED lighting to be it was started to be delivered, and they have started to install it. I know they've done part of this building, and they've run into some issues, but nothing that can't be handled, and they will be working on that. Recreation.
Few things. Summer camp registration, pool passes, they are available at unionvalerec.com. Everything has been running smoothly with the registration website. And if it's not running smoothly for anyone, please do me a favor and call the office, and we will make sure to take care of any problems that people encounter. But mostly it's been up and running, and everybody's getting registered for things, so it's been awesome. We are going to post swim lesson registration on there. I know some members of the public have been asking, oh, when are swim lessons going to be available to register? Because I know pool passes are on there now. They will be soon. We're just finalizing some schedules. Malia and Shannon have been working very hard, and I'm working in conjunction with them to just make sure everything is set and we don't have any hiccups along the way. So that information will probably be out by April 1st. And moving on, egg hunts, can you believe it? Coming up. We are having 2 of them this year. One is a lower key, more adaptive egg hunt. We have beeping eggs made available from a family in the community to make an egg hunt more enjoyable for someone with a vision impairment, because I know egg hunts, you know, they get a little crazy sometimes, so we're making an adaptive egg hunt for those with you know, vision impairment. So, or really anybody can come, families on that day. More information is available on our Facebook page. We will also have a classic egg hunt on April 8th as well. A little bigger scope, some more eggs, but it is egg hunts for all. So we want to just be inclusive of everyone. Also, on our registration website, you can enroll in the upcoming TGTT camp days for spring break when school is out. April 10th through 14th, Time War Park is, you won't believe it, going on a little world tour with some passports, fun games, and the more days that your child attends, you can fill a passport and just enjoy a little diverse experience while they are on spring break. Tomorrow, we are hosting a senior luncheon for St. Patrick's Day. We're getting East Fishkill Provisions come again because they're a favorite of ours, and the seniors are going to enjoy a lunch. So anyone also is more than welcome to join us at noon tomorrow down at the park in the senior center. Other news, we have just arrived back, me and my team down there, our summer camp directors and after-school directors. We just got back from the Tri-State Camp Conference in Atlantic City. We arrived back home at 5:45, 6 o'clock today, so still rocking and rolling. It's the largest gathering of camp professionals in the entire world. We were able to really trade ideas, go to so many classes, and exchange lots of information with each other just to make our programs, specifically our camps, even better. I was really happy to be able to have the ability to take some of my staff there because it was just a really powerful professional development opportunity. In this profession that we are in, people think it's all just play, 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 but there's so much that goes into it, and really meeting the needs of every child that comes here is a huge undertaking. So we're just learning a lot more effective ways to include everyone and make our camps the best that they can be. Camp really does create these social mindsets, so we want to create a new culture and build on the great things we've already done, but we want to promote inclusivity, kindness, belonging, and success for all. So as a department, we want to program with intentionality and purpose to benefit our community and future leaders, whether they be our young staff members that we hire, our CITs, and trickling down to the young campers that we have. A little acronym because I like them. ACT, Action Changes Things. So I really want to keep that in mind when we program and when we have these summer camps that, you know, we can't get anywhere without doing different things. Like if we want a new result, we have to try some different things. So I'm kind of a risk taker and I like to try some different things along the way. So I really, it will be a positive thing and we're excited. We had a couple cool keynotes and I'll spare you all the details, but we had 2 national best-selling authors and people you may have heard of. One of them was Susan Cain, who wrote the book Quiet, and tons of other things, but we basically learned a little bit about meeting the needs of introverts and extroverts. You think, you know, camp kids, they just are crazy and run around, but we have a lot of different children, and we want to make sure we design these collective environments to meet the needs of both personality types. So if you feel like you have a child who, oh, camp's maybe not their thing, maybe it is, but you have to find the camp that's willing to meet those needs for your child. So we want to be the ones that do that. And lastly, we were able to sit and listen to Brandon Stanton, who is the creator of Humans of New York. I don't know if you've ever heard of him, seen his work, but he goes around and interviews and takes photos of complete strangers in New York City and around the globe. And we were able to gain some deeper insight into the power of a community's energy through stories and a willingness just to listen. And we need to listen to each other, our community members, the campers that we have, to just make sure we're running the best programs that we can. So we're very excited, kind of on the conference high. So thank you for listening, and we look forward to many more positive things in the future. So thanks.
Thank you, Jess.
Oh, one more shout out.
Really?
Thank you to my awesome staff down there. A lot of our directors and people who run the show on a normal basis were not there because we wanted to attend this conference. But all of my staff are completely amazing. Jake stepped up, Tom and Tom stepped up to be there in the facility up until 6 o'clock when our after-school program runs, just to make sure things are running smoothly. And my staff, my counselors, they're fantastic. So just give them a little shout out. Just because we're not there doesn't mean we can't run good things. So they're awesome.
Dog control?
One lost dog and one found dog.
One found.
Hoping they're same dog.
More specific information regarding dates, parties involved, etc., can be accessed in the Animal Control Officer's logbook. She does a little bit more. Okay, Highway?
Thank you.
Thanks, Rich.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. All right, first thing I did before I walked in here tonight, I put the fire out in the ashtray, at the front door. Just so you know, she was smoldering pretty good. I don't know who we got.
Ryan?
Smoker, but she was smoking. So I just dumped water on that. And then burned the brush pile down the highway garage before the burn ban came about. We plowed and sanded 25 different occasions from January to the present. We went back out after the storm, this past big storm. We winged back all the roads and pushed the snowbanks back at intersections that had poor sight visibility. I'd like to personally thank all my guys for a good job that they did. We kept up with it pretty good, and as far as I know, everything went well. We removed 15 trees from South Parliament Road for poor sight visibility by Crosslands Horse Farm. Clean the leaves out of the ditches where needed on Perkins, Mack, Sealy, and Old Canby Road before the snow, of course. Fixed and replaced various signs. Cleaned and maintained trucks and equipment several times. Serviced the loader. Took truck 2 to Junior's diesel repair for an electronic four-wheel drive issue that we don't have the computer to plug into. And he had it fixed with it for us within the hour. Replaced the brake lines on truck 7. Got a flywheel fixed on truck 7. Installed a new cutting edge on the loader bucket. Replaced 2 plow cutting edges on trucks 2 and 10. Cleaned the shop and break room. Had a contractor install a new shop door for us. We went to the junkyard with all the pipe from Meadow Ridge and some other scrap we have been holding on to until the price went up a bit. It went from 3 cents at the time to I think it was 6 or 7 cents now. We got $2,640. And we also, I wrote something else on, hold on, I'll get to that. We fabricated a safety grate for probably, I think it was a 24-inch pipe at the end of the newer part of Meadow Ridge. There's a gentleman who lives down there who mentioned it to me that, you know, kids can get in it and small dogs and what have you. So Dan and Mike got together and they fabricated something out of rebar that opens and closes for water and stuff to disperse, but nobody can get in it. So look at that, came out nice. All right, on to the next page. The highlighted area, this is for minutes from, what was this?
August 15th,
2013.
2013,
Yeah.
yeah.
Authorized additional highway budget line. Now, I was working with the board at the time to create a new budget line or a separate bank account, however we could do it. This was for what it says for excess equipment or scrap metal, stuff like that. That was never done, but it was approved. So I don't know how we're going to go about this. There is a way that the town of Pleasant Valley does it. I didn't get a hold of Butch before I got here tonight and go over it with him again. But the way they do it is they, like we're doing, we sell our older trucks that are on Auctions International or scrap metal, and they put it into a budget line. As he told me, it's a budget line, and they can roll it over every year. So this way, this is the way I explained it at this meeting, if we need a new truck or any other piece of equipment, I can't spend the money without coming to the town board first and discussing with you guys, and we all approve of it on it. Say if it's a roller or a truck or anything. So this is what this was for, and I discussed this with you. Well, we have to figure out the legal way to do it, and how much money that, since 2013 we got to put in there. How we're going to go about that. So I just wanted you guys to be aware of that, and I know we're going to have more of a discussion about it. Next
I will
meeting.
have Ryan look into it.
Yeah. And
I will say, when we were researching last year how to cover the rest of the truck, when I asked Ryan how much had come in your surplus, he gave me a number, like, in less than 5 minutes.
Okay.
So I think we need, to have a discussion with Ryan of how does that look in the books?
Yeah.
Because clearly he had it somehow denoted. I don't know if it's a separate
Was
budget
it for
line.
that year, though? Was it just
It
for
could
that
have
year?
been just for
Well,
that
that
year.
was for that year,
Yeah.
because we've only been in office a little
Understood.
over a year.
Right.
So, yeah, I can't tell you anything that happened since here, but I can tell you since we voted for your surplus, and Steve had mentioned, whatever Parks does should go to Parks, whatever
Yeah.
Highway does should go to Highway, and we all agreed to that. Somehow, it has been denoted in the computer system. I don't know if that's a budget line, so that's definitely a Ryan issue, but I will say,
I don't know
since
if
Ryan
it's a
was-
Ryan issue. It was never created
I don't, Leah was working on it when she
Yeah,
was
I
here.
don't think she ever
And
finalized
she
it.
never finalized it.
Right.
And I
Yeah,
don't know
we
where
never
it was
thought
left
about
off.
it.
So it's not a Ryan thing. It's just something we have to look into to see how to legally go about with it. Maybe that guy can help us.
It's a bookkeeper issue.
Is it?
Oh, so it is a Ryan.
It's not, it's not.
You have to create an account for the board to vote to create an account, Rich, in your budget for surplus.
But it wouldn't
and
actually be like
scrap.
a budget line, right? You couldn't list as a budget line because it's, you know, it would.
Well, an account will be created for that money to go in
For
there.
revenues.
Whether the town board has the ability to go back more than a year or two to do that, that's a Ryan question. I don't know if that's feasible,
Yeah.
but obviously from last year forward, I think it can be done.
Okay.
You know, and then that account would be funded with surplus equipment, scrap metal, and like you said, it can be used for new
Was it upwards of 10,000, I thought? You know, so I mean, there's a good jump right
It's done in
there.
other towns, as you said,
Yeah.
and it's a good way to have some type of account where you don't have to then finance
Yeah, and
the whole amount of a piece of equipment or.
and like I said, totally town board approval, you know, we talk about, it's not something I just go ahead and, I want this,
Oh, yeah, no.
or I'm gonna buy it right now. No.
Right. It says here, Mr. Wisman will speak with the Beekman Highway Superintendent regarding this. Did
Does it say
you
Beekman?
speak with him?
In that second paragraph of that same section, it says, the last line says you'll speak with Beekman Highway Superintendent.
Oh, it's about shared services for the department specifically using it, okay.
Oh, shared service.
I'll call him and see if he remembers too.
That's a different,
Yeah, it's a
different topic.
subject.
I mean, I would
Yeah.
say there is probably a way to go back and research it, because, Dave, how far
I think
back was
other
the
towns
Cablevision
do
thing
it.
that you researched?
I just don't know
The
how feasible.
media money.
how
Wouldn't it be
feasible
like a
is to go back
capital
more.
fund?
More than the year that we've
A
been
year,
in, but,
possibly
Right.
I
two.
don't know.
yeah.
Possibly two, and I don't know what we scrapped, we bought 2 years ago, or what equipment we got rid of, but,
And I think Ryan can come up with those numbers
yeah.
like that for the past 2 years ananyway.
Yeah.
Before
Yeah, all the scrap
that-
metal and all that stuff.
I mean,
Right.
I don't know that he can, but I think we should contact other towns and see how they do
I know
it.
one does it, I know, like I said, Pleasant Valley does it. And he even purchased a, you know, big truck, over 100,000 for it. But, that's pretty much it for now. So, any questions? Any snowstorm stuff? No? That's it?
Any
We're
more
looking at
snow
another
coming?
3 to 6 tomorrow on Saturday, Friday night and Saturday. That was as of about noon time, so we'll see what happens. Oh, and our numbers, if I run right with Ryan, it looks like we're gonna be over the salt budget. I'm just giving you guys a heads up, it's
Yeah, we're
something
aware.
I gotta order.
He just explained all that,
Okay,
Yeah.
I
where the
was-
money's gonna come from and,
How soon will you need to have it?
The money?
Not the money, but the material.
He's already ordered
How's
it.
your supply right now?
They
Already got a
they
voucher.
delivered some of it today. They delivered some of the salt today. I had to get it because we're running
Okay.
low. And like I've discussed with Patty, it's considered an emergency thing.
Okay, I just, we should probably talk about funding it tonight then.
yeah, Ryan already said
Ryan
where the
just-
money was gonna come
Ryan
from.
just discussed taking it out of the fund balance of last year.
Don't we need to approve that?
Well, we haven't received any bills yet,
We-
and those
Yes, you
seem
did.
to,
I've signed a voucher already.
no,
not-
those were for.
No.
That's for past.
That's
stuff.
already
That's-
paid for,
Oh, really?
that's already out
Okay.
of the money. We
Let's
still
go in
have
addition
what,
to that
9,000? I think we still have $9,000 in that
Okay,
line.
Yeah.
But he ordered more than $9,000
I see.
worth.
Okay.
So we won't be getting that bill for another month,
Yeah.
the way things work.
all right.
Certainly not.
So I think once we get that bill, then we have to make the decision
Right.
to,
Okay, I
Well,
just don't want him
shouldn't we
to
make
be
that
short
decision
on
before
salt.
the bill comes in, that we're gonna transfer it
It's
from
an
fund
emergency thing, I'm gonna
balance?
order it.
So that we know where the money's coming from and the
we
money's
just
there?
did.
I missed that one.
Yeah, but I mean, what I got out of going to these Association of Towns meetings are, if you have something that's coming up, you make the transfer before you make the purchase.
Right.
Right.
So that we should decide now that, yes, we're gonna make that transfer from the fund
Ryan?
balance,
Do we
so that
have
that
an
money
exact-
is there.
Do we have an exact
Exact line.
amount to transfer, though? 'Cause that's
Well,
what
it
we
would
need.
just
Right,
be-
well, that's what I'm
Exact
saying.
number.
We need
Like
the bill
$5,000.
so we can say, we need to take this much money and put it into this line to pay this bill. It's already been ordered.
Well, I
It's
know it's
already
already been
here,
ordered, but
some of
I mean, I'm just saying that what I got from the controller's office is that prior to making the purchase, we're supposed to make the
Budget
That's
transfer.
the best practice when you have an item that you know is $100,000. But with salt, I don't think.
We're working on it.
Yeah, we don't know what the final number's gonna be yet.
It makes more sense from a legal standpoint to wait for the bill to come in, do a bifurcated approval where you're authorizing payment and authorizing
The
the budget
transfer.
transfer at the same time for the exact amount. Because we'd only be guessing right now
Yeah.
what the bill's gonna be.
Right.
I was guessing we weren't gonna have much more snow.
Keeping the roads so light.
Silly you.
Yeah, exactly. But, all right, is that it for me? Can I leave? Anybody
tell
got
us.
anything? 'Cause I gotta go to another meeting, unfortunately. Not unfortunately, I'm ready with this one. Okay.
Thank you.
Town clerk? Did Ryan leave?
He's fixing his time.
Conservation license, $5, certified copies, $170, recreation programs, $720, camps, $10,902, after-school program, $3,671, equestrian center, $35, facility rentals, $987.50. The recycling center and compactor fees were $8,253. Refuse bin was $211. And dog licenses were $498.50. So after all fees are paid, $25,375.28 was turned over to the supervisor.
Zoning and planning?
Okay, zoning, the month of February, no money taken in. Planning board made up for it, though. In February, they took in $10,000 from the Habiog Leonard East Mountain North escrow deposit. And they also took in $250 from Empire Solar Solutions for a special use permit. Total receipts for the planning in February was $10,250.
Okay, application fees, yes, are revenue for the town, but the escrow fees of $10,000, I just want to make it clear.
Yeah, I know, it's money that's
that
going out.
That's
for-
money that's going
services.
out for services that these particular people use, and if in fact, when their job is done, and it hasn't all been used up, we do have to give them back the money, so it's not actually money coming to the town. Code enforcement?
The damage to the constable code enforcement vehicle is scheduled to be repaired by the end of March.
It's
and
done.
It has been. Meeting with Mr. Paggi on 3/2 of 2017 for the required MS4 training for highway rec departments. The annual report for New York State 1203 inspections has been completed. Coordination of the emergency generator for the town hall is being conducted. Tank has been ordered and work is being coordinated with Bottini Fuel and the electrical contractor. The Fountains in Millbrook has made application to the planning board for a new memory care facility building on their campus. Inspections performed 63, violation notices issued 3, building permits issued 13, old permit COs issued 14, municipal searches 5, complaints received 3, violations abated 2, resident meetings 17, certified occupancy compliance 11, complaints acted upon 2, appearance tickets issued 0, fire callouts 1, plan review hours 11. Verification for income building permits and municipal searches to be provided by bookkeeper. Feel free to contact me with any questions. Submitted by George Cole.
Okay, the tank is here. Okay.
Is that installed or waiting
No,
to be?
It's sitting out back.
It's sitting out back.
It just delivered today.
It was delivered
Yes.
today.
Actually, it's on top. They delivered today.
Yeah. Jake plowed a spot for it to go,
Oh,
so when the snow
Looks like a
goes...
big sausage.
Yeah,
I guess so.
when the snow goes away, or maybe we can even get them to do it earlier, because there is snow plows and loaders that can move the snow out of our way.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, constables?
Did George send you the, no, I didn't,
Okay.
George didn't send me one yet.
Media?
All right, so we've had fun. I had 8 microphones on order. So I did 8 microphones. I came here today. The snow said no. I have one. It's all pretty. It's a new one. People may have noticed the audio is a little staticky tonight. Working on it. Problem is the expected new microphones that run on a different power system. So the ones that are currently in use are a little iffy. UPS is installed, been running. Didn't kick over during the storm, so we didn't actually lose power at any point. We just got in. That's about it. Waiting for the new microphones.
Okay, discussions. The town owns property up on Pleasant Ridge, past Blueberry Drive. I don't know if you all are familiar with that.
Oh, yeah.
The property was actually given to the town. When they put the subdivision in, I guess they had land left over.
Yeah, they really didn't need it, and
They didn't
they
need
offered it to us, and I was on the planning board at the time. No, I was on town board, and I said, yes, we would love to have free property.
And they gave us free property.
How many acres?
5 acres, I think, yes. And I think 1 acre of it is good. There is some wetlands in there,
Yes.
but the acre that is good is right up by the road.
Mm-hmm.
It's off the tax roll. I think maybe we ought to think about selling that, and, because it's really doing nothing for us.
That, you want to look at that and see if that wasn't part of the state-required donation of land by a subdivision. If it is, then we can't sell it. I don't know what, in Wappingers, we call it Parklands Trust, where they either, when a piece of land is subdivided, they either donate a portion of the land or a sum of money.
For the recreation.
For recreation purposes, it's required by law. If that parcel is part of that agreement, we can't sell it.
Then we should do something.
Not even
We
put
need
the
to,
fund-
we
not
need to
even
look and
putting the
see
fund to
whether that's the
recreation?
case or not.
Not even putting the money to recreation?
I don't believe so.
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure
John,
either.
we would
It's
have to
been
look
30
back.
It's been 30 years.
Yeah, we'll look
probably,
back
since we
to
got
see
it.
if that was the case. I don't know that they didn't give the recreation a donation.
It's just
and
something we
then-
need to look into
Right.
before we
But
talk about selling
I
it.
think we should look into it.
Sure.
Is what I'm saying. That was the discussion. The other thing was, I know that the town of Beekman had somebody come in there and wanted to put up, not a tower, like I think it was Sprint maybe, an antenna. And
Yeah.
they were willing, and I think they wanted to do it by the library, and they wanted to put this antenna up, and they were willing to pay quite a bit of money to lease the land for so many years, and they would maintain it, and I thought maybe, that's way up there, maybe something like
Yeah,
that.
it's a good high location
It's
to
a good
possibly cash in on the
For something like
possibility
that.
of some kind of
Yeah.
tower, because it would help residents with cell service, and would also be steady income for the town.
Steady income for the town, and it would pay what it would have paid if it was back on the tax roll.
Yeah,
So, something to look into, and I
it could
just,
be very lucrative.
yeah, I wanted to mention that. The next thing is the employee handbook. All of Dave's ideas, we went through, and we approved at the last meeting. Our town attorney went through the entire handbook. He advised us with a couple of different wordings, but mainly the whole handbook is really good. And Karina had a couple of changes that she would have liked to see. So if, Karina, you want to go over those changes or additions, and then we could vote on the handbook.
Sure. John had brought this up last time, so Tom, did you have an opinion on whether it be called the manual or the handbook? Like, is there a legal implication to using either word, or do we just pick one that we
Typically, it's
like?
called a handbook.
Okay.
but There's no.
And that's what it always was, right?
It was the
So
handbook
it's going to be
before.
the handbook throughout the entire book.
Okay, yeah, because there were some inconsistencies because it was used interchangeably, so just that we agree on one word, handbook is fine. The appendix referred to a couple of items like you'll find in the appendix, but there's actually no appendix in here. So I did include so an incident report, she did sort of include, that was indicated as, and then a leave request form I recommended be put in there so all employees have it. They can't say, I didn't know where that was. And the report of the harassment form, so that for the ease of somebody who is feeling, especially if it's coming from their department head, they don't want to go to their department head to ask for the form. They would want to have that readily available. So there was like a couple different options in there. We can even vote on the handbook and then defer the appendix to like the next meeting. We all kind of agree how on that. Unionville has a harassment form, which I included. It said original on it, harassment complaint form. It said original when it came through the email. And then there was a couple other samples. In section 1.13, where it said questions, it just said like any questions about this manual should either be department head or town supervisor. I believe just for everyone's benefit, it should be presented in writing so that if there's any issue later on down the road, it's been addressed. Everything is documented in writing.
Everything has to be documented.
That just seemed like a really good idea. Following that, 1.1.23, which follows just down from that, where it says interpretation, where it says like the town board could amend or eliminate the manual at any time. I just thought maybe we should have some kind of line that like, you know, any changes, employees will be notified, because it kind of seemed a little vague. Like if I was the employee, I'd be worried like, oh, well, great. When I'm going to have an issue, I won't know if it changed. Like so that we make sure any changes. We were really good about that with the health policy.
We
that
put
went
right
out.
in with the paychecks.
So just like follow it with another line that says employees will be notified of any changes or something, just so that it's clear. 1.41. For the town supervisor as department head, I was wondering, like, the payroll clerk, are you also the department head for her? Or is the bookkeeper, the head for her? Like, does that whole office kind of fall under you? I didn't know.
Yeah.
So maybe we should just add that under you, including town bookkeeper, comma, payroll clerk, comma, and confidential secretary.
Right.
Supervisor. So everyone is addressed.
Yep.
So that there's no issue like, I didn't know who my department head was. 1.53 for exempt employees. There was just an extra is in there. It was like, it's sort of a silly clerical error. So an exempt employee will mean someone, just is doesn't belong there.
Okay.
So that's just sort of a, when
Redundant,
Mary
yeah.
retypes
Unnecessary.
it, it's a silly little, let's see. Oh, and where it says 2.1.8 termination of employment, I was just wondering if the wording, some other town manuals call it separation from employment, because it's not termination like we are terminating their employment, it's when an employee chooses to terminate their employment with us. So other towns use the word separation from employment, like meaning resignation.
For the resignation part, yeah.
Yeah.
that's a good point.
And because like we kind of talk about terminate in the discipline part.
Right, yeah.
So
But
just to
separate is
use a
better.
different
So if someone
word.
quits or resigns or
Yes.
retires.
And retires.
It would be called
Any
separation.
reason-
Separation
any
of
reason-
service,
Any
yeah.
reason from separation.
Yeah, good idea.
So just to like rename that for clarification, I think. It also, I found that other towns actually included, they made it a little more robust. It talked about even when the town clerk resigns, it talked about when town officers resign. So I just thought we could include, I kind of included the paragraph in your notes that I sent out. I thought we could include a paragraph about that. So it's not just separation of employment for employees, but separation of when somebody needs to resign from office or is retiring from office.
Well, I think person who is in office is also an employee to the taxpayer and the residents, so we are all employees
Employees
Right.
of the town.
Right, exactly, which is why I think we should include, but the process is different, because we follow the state law process of being an elected official. That's why I think it should be added, because we are employees. We do follow the same handbook.
Right.
So to make it clear to all employees how their process works and how our process works. Does that make sense? Do you understand why to add it?
Yes.
Because we are employees, so what happens for us? Like, how does it work for us? And then following 2.4, where the probationary period, several times a performance appraisal is mentioned, but we never talk about the policy and procedure for the performance appraisal. So I think we need to add that. So my recommendation is add it after 2.4 probationary period, add a 2.5 of performance appraisal, and I gave you a whole sample of then how it would follow. 2.5.1, purpose and criteria, 2.5.2, frequency, 2.5.3, evaluation, 2.5.4, deficiencies, and then 2.5.5, employee reply, if there's a response to the, and then that whole section would just then fall down one other number. But I just thought it was a good place to put it, because usually most probationary periods, they're like, okay, you've done a great job, we're hiring you, and then they set up their performance, because that's part of your performance appraisal, that you have passed your probationary period. And then to follow with your personnel file and everything is the next thing that follows. But it is mentioned several times in the book about a performance appraisal,
Right.
but
It should
not
be- it should be in
what
there as well.
happens, like
Yeah.
how do they know how that's going to happen. And then under 2.7, and I didn't renumber them, so everybody's 2.7, rules of conduct, let's see. Oh, actually, Tom clarified under the per se violations, the wording, and that was, mine was much simpler, so I liked Tom's. It was a little more robust, and so I think it was really clarifying for everyone. Hopefully that satisfied. Let's see, I also thought under the per se violations, the third one down says being under the influence of alcohol or controlled substances. I'd also like to add the wording possession of and or being under the influence, because, if we find an employee in possession of a controlled substance, we also have a problem, even if we can't prove they're using it at the time. Most towns included just possession alone. Under 2.8 standards of conduct, the second paragraph regarding elected officials. Oh, just like the wording, violates any of the provisions of the Code of Ethics as outlined above, may be removed from office, or his or her employee may be terminated. We can't actually remove anyone from office. So what we would do as elected officials, if we believe another official has acted inappropriately or an ethics violation, is we would recommend, we would report them to Albany. So maybe the wording, and Tom could probably help us with the wording here, like maybe reported to the state for review, for possible removal from office, but we can't say we're removing somebody from office. Do you have any thoughts, Tom?
Yeah, I'm looking at it. It says provided by law, so that
would
isn't
cover
going to cover the lawful process.
lawful
It has
Oh,
to
okay.
move,
Okay, so that's just like the
which
lawful
you
process.
explained how it would be
Okay.
done.
Okay. Under 3.6, let's see, 3.6.
Supplies to.
All right. Oh, yeah, so I just recommended to add our procurement plan in there. A lot of the other towns had included their procurement plan, like purchasing. So I would just for
Shall may purchase.
just for ease of where it goes under following under supplies, to do a purchasing statement and say the town has established a procurement plan that must be followed without exception. No employee shall make a purchase for the town or use the town's name to make purchases unless so authorized by the town board, and in adherence to the procedures set forth in the procurement policy, and then follow it with everything else that follows, the office tools and equipment, the mechanical tools. This was something the comptroller's office actually had talked to us about. They're like, well, do you have a policy and procedure for that? I'm like, well, we have a procurement policy, but like this needs to be in our employee manual, that we have another policy. Then, let's see, under 3.0, following 3.11, which is our social media policy, I was just thinking that we should add like a 3.12 and then move all the other numbers down. Again, other towns have this for adverse correspondence. This would be under the situation that, let's say our highway guys were out and somebody was really irate and they start sending him harassing emails, that we would want to have a policy on adverse communication, because we would want to protect all our employees. Like some poor plow guy that's working part-time for us is starting to get harassing emails. We would want to be aware, and we would want to have a policy to protect all our employees under that, under those situations. We would want to make sure they're not like just trying to take care of it themselves. So that was one thing to add, and then just move everything, down accordingly, because then it moves on to solicitations.
Okay.
And then following the leaves, I think that we had a military leave, and it isn't in our new book, but it was in our old book, and I think we have to have a military leave because it's so I just recommended putting it back in there and then make it 4.9 as like the last leave, and then it's before the FMLA, which I know FMLA is a leave, but it's after the bereavement leave and jury leave and all the other reasons you'd be on leave, vacation and everything, before you move into FMLA. And so I included the New York State law of military leave and the military leave of absence federal law as the guidelines for that.
So a quick 2 cents on your English communications.
Yeah.
If you did want to implement something like that, you're going to have to change your email provider. Currently, the host you're using doesn't provide retention policies or litigation holds, as far as I know.
I'm sorry, retention policies for what?
For your email communications. So I think currently you're using GoDaddy email.
Okay.
GoDaddy does, I believe, not support it. It's a separate package you have to purchase in order to do retention of emails. So basically what happens is someone sends an email to somebody, it goes to their mailbox, they delete it, it's gone. The only two people that are going to have it would be the sender, the recipient, and if you get a subpoena, the email host.
Okay.
So with something like Office 365 or Hosted Exchange or something like that, you can do retention policies, which says that, even if someone deletes an email from their mailbox, it stays in a retrievable state for 90 days, for 200 days, things like that.
So it's my understanding as government officials, we have to be able to have our emails because they're all foilable. So don't we have to, we can't just delete our, I guess we can delete our emails, but we're not supposed to be. So this is something we need to look into anyway.
That has to be double checked. I'm not able to get into it.
Okay.
But my knowledge of GoDaddy is that it's typically a separate package or not available.
Okay.
I'd have to look at what the town server is
Okay.
capable of.
But that's true, like we have to be able to have
Town officials
it.
should use town emails for town business, and as you said, they're subject to flow.
Right.
And one of the things that
So
they said
something-
at the, again, Association of Towns meetings is anything that we're sending amongst ourselves, that pertains to town business, we should be carbon copying Andrea.
Yeah.
So that she has a
Those will all
record
be a
of
record.
all emails pertaining to business.
Right.
Kind of.
She
but at
is
that
the
point-
official record
Well, because
keeper
she's
of
the
the town.
FOIL officer.
Right, but the
She's-
problem with that is you're going to run into an issue where she has that
It's
mailbox
full.
running off of her desktop.
And
In
it's full.
3 weeks of people emailing things around, carbon copying her on them, her computer's going to slow to a crawl. So that's why you have retention policies and you have separate things set up for that, separate, like a document manager's mailbox type of thing, to do that kind of setup.
This sounds like something we definitely need to look into to get the bigger picture, because it sounds like we need something
Sounds like we have a man here who knows what he's talking about.
No, right. So we need to look into
Medications
what
are
that
not fun.
is, if we need to purchase something, if we need to go with a different vendor, like, we need to move forward with that, because that is important. Okay, thank you, Ryan.
No problem.
Under insurance, I think it is, just to add in a statement, and I never thought of this when we went through the health policy, the insurance, but just add in a statement of in event of divorce, legal separation, or a child's loss of dependent status, you or a family member must notify the plan administrator within 60 days of the occurrence of the event. Because that would, update the plan. And then, what about dental? Because we have dental, but it's at the full cost of the employee. So shouldn't we have some kind of statement that just says dental? Because it can be accessed. Maybe not every employee knows that if they didn't watch the town board meeting or they didn't come and meet with the insurance guy. But
I mean,
just-
We'd have
every
to go-
year we go
the
through
town
the
doesn't provide
insurance. The town
dental.
doesn't provide the dental.
I thought it's at
and-
the full cost of the employee.
Yeah, so he would be buying it directly from the provider, not through the town.
Right,
And
it
even then, don't
depends
they have
on
to
what-
have
Oh,
a
it's
minimum
not
number of
even, I
people?
I thought they get the rate through our insurance guy because they're a town employee, even though they cover the cost. Right?
Yeah,
They cover the cost, but it's through our person.
It's through CDPHP, but the employee would bear the full cost of dental, the way they.
Right, but say next year we don't go with CDPHP, and they
Well,
don't
that-
offer the dental. So I mean, this is just something that I think is a whole insurance, when we redo our insurance every year, should
Right,
be
I-
mentioned. I don't
it-
think it has to be in the handbook that we offer dental.
Right.
Right, because you might
It's not
not.
gonna be,
Okay.
it's gonna be at a day every year.
I mean, the handbook is something you should look at periodically to update.
Right.
You might potentially want to approve changes at the organizational meeting and then at other times when necessary. I mean,
Right.
the health insurance comes up in December, so the decisions have to be made obviously before then,
Right.
October.
Right, okay. And then just under 6.2, silly, it's clerical error, just in the last line, if and you don't have a space in between. So it's just a Mary thing to pull them apart in our final draft. And then, again, I think we have to add COBRA, because COBRA is part of the law. So I just took a sample, this I think is from the town of LaGrange, of their COBRA policy. It's not their COBRA policy
Right.
because it's a law, but, just the COBRA policy that we add that back. So that was it.
And I see you attached all these
Yeah, so that was
harassment
like
complaint
the
form,
appendix
workplace violence
ideas.
form, respectful conduct reporting form, that's just a second one,
Oh, what? I don't know. No, there's 2 pages for that one.
3.
2? Oh,
Hold on.
there's a
Hold
couple of
on.
samples.
Respectful conduct reporting form,
Yes, so that's actually correct. Yeah,
respectful
that's 2
conduct
pages.
reporting form.
Oh, I didn't do the second page? They don't look different at the top?
Oh, you know what, is yours front and back, mine's not front and back, so.
Yeah, mine originals were front and back,
Okay.
but yours come out as 2
All right.
pages, the way I scanned them.
Request form, request for leave, incident report form, accident injury report form.
Right. Well, the accident injury report form is the new one given to us with this one, so I assume, and then it was just discussed to add that, I forget who mentioned it at the last meeting, but just the waiver to refuse the medical attention
Right.
needs to be added. So that's
Right.
fine. This was just the original one that came up in all my Unionville papers.
Yeah, so
And
we'll
then-
add
Yeah,
all
just the
these forms
appendixes.
into,
Well,
the
don't add them
employee
all, because some
handbook.
of them are duplicate. So we would decide, and we
No.
might want to decide at the next meeting, like,
which ones to add and which
right,
not to
like,
add.
is it this harassment complaint form, which is original to the town, or look over the other ones and see if there's something we want to add to it. Obviously, we can create our own
We can create our own
looking
too.
form.
And I'm sure
Mary will
can
be
do
great at that.
Oh, yeah.
I know Andrea's done stuff like that for me, so, just to add to the appendixes, because they are mentioned in the book, but then there is no actual appendix. Yeah. That was it.
Any other discussions?
I found a few concerns here as well. 1.4.1, department head descriptions.
1.4.1, yep.
I'd like to see the recreation director and head groundskeeper on two separate lines as their employees. You know, that would, define better who directs who. Also like to add the chairpersons on separate lines for the planning board and the zoning board.
Is the
Where-
planning? and-
where is
I don't see
planning
the
and
planning and zoning on here, but are they actually departments, Tom?
I don't see them listed here because they wouldn't technically be a
Be a department head.
They're a board chairman.
Right, it's a board, it's not a
But
department.
they have the ability to hire at will their secretary and professionals.
I don't think at will.
We went through this earlier in the year.
Planning does, I think.
Planning has the ability
Planning
to
does.
hire under the town law.
If the money is in the
If
budget.
the money's
Right.
budgeted.
The money is not budgeted.
They can't even put their own members, we vote their members.
Yeah, we vote their members, so they can't even,
But they select their secretary, I feel it.
if the money is in their budget.
Zoning doesn't.
No, zoning doesn't.
Well,
Planning.
all right, so I'll stand corrected, and I'd like to see planning chairperson added to this list as a department head.
It's not a department.
It's a gray area, I'm not sure what you,
Yeah, this is definitely a lawyer's thing.
I mean,
Definitely staring at Tom.
typically, board heads are listed as department heads, because a lot of towns will have a planning department coordinator. I mean, I know Unionville doesn't, but
Right. Larger towns.
typically, Steve, a planning zoning coordinator would be listed as a department head. If
And we
that
don't
such
have
person,
one.
we don't have that person. A board member is an appointed position year to year by the town board.
And the chairman is an appointed position also.
This was that
That's what-
that's
what he's
chairperson
saying.
every
The whole
year is
board
We have
is,
to-
yeah.
appointed at the organizational meeting
Right.
from the
Yeah.
constituents that make up the board.
You also want to make sure, just so there's no confusion, but also so for the sake of the employee, that no one has more than one, department head as their boss.
Right.
It'd be very confusing if
Yes.
I have two department heads and one says this and the other says something
Yeah.
different, and then what am I
Right.
supposed to do? You can make it very difficult for any employee if they had a report.
I would think their duties
Multiple
would be
bosses.
specified by the department head that they're working for at that moment.
But the chairperson of the board has no more vote than any other member of that board. He doesn't get 2 votes, or he doesn't cast a special vote. There's 5 members on the board.
And if they want to,
7 members.
right.
each has
Chairperson's
20%.
got the same vote as all the other board members.
And if they want to hire somebody, it's up to the entire,
It's up to the town board to
right,
approve.
to approve, right.
Actually, no.
So I just
For the
don't,
planning board, they could hire their own consultants.
but it's the whole
But
board.
it's the whole
It's
board
not
has
the
to-
chairperson
Chairperson
who's,
doesn't pick it. It's
Right.
gotta be voted on by the majority of the board.
any other discussion?
Yeah, I have a couple more here. On 3.6.3, the line there, an employee must repair or replace any tool either lost or damaged by the employee as a result of negligence or intentional misuse. Like the attorney to comment on whether that is permitted by law.
That's a typical provision in a lot of town codes, that if there's, basically saying if there's negligence by the
Negligence.
employee, that they could be held responsible for the replacement to the town.
Okay. I wasn't aware of that. I understood it different. But,
If he lost it by mistake, he's not responsible, or he damaged it by mistake.
right, it
he's
just
not-
was my understanding that you couldn't
But due to his
require.
negligence,
I,
then he is responsible.
you know, I just, you know, I've been involved in hiring and firing, and I wasn't privy to that. I just wanted to have that clarified. And if-
Yeah, no, we're okay with that.
Okay. Where's, on the next page, it's portion of 3.9.2. Says any handheld devices are town highway trucks and code enforcement / constable car are equipped with two-way radios.
It's not a handheld device,
It's on the dash.
The microphone's handheld.
but it's
Considered hands-free,
It's
right?
considered, it's in the vehicle, it's a part of the vehicle.
Is it
Handheld,
considered hands-free?
hands,
It's never been questioned, I'm aware of in any,
a two-way
I just wanted to make
radio.
sure that, you know, that was what we were talking about.
Personal cell phones.
This is the part that he's talking about.
The left
Or any
side.
other
Yeah, last
handheld,
paragraph.
or any other handheld device. I mean, I don't think you're,
But I think a handheld device isn't something that's attached to the vehicle.
it's wire, not wire, hardwired.
It's
to the-
handheld, where you can get out of the vehicle and
you know, you're riding down the road watching a movie on your
handheld
handheld
device.
device. Yeah, not really a good idea.
Would a CB radio be included in that? I don't
I
believe
mean,
so.
if the town board's more comfortable, you could, after handheld device, you could put other than
Other than
installed CB.
equipped,
Other than installed radios.
Hardwired,
Hardwired,
equipped hardwired radios.
this way there's no
no ambiguity.
misunderstanding
Yeah.
and ambiguity in this.
Okay, that'll be added. Any more?
That's all I had.
Anyone else? Okay, we will move to resolutions.
While we're on discussions, I'd like to just bring up one, and it was brought up to me by the constables. We did approve in the budget to get the new uniforms for the constables. And I'd like to move ahead with that. We do have the grant for the
That's,
vests. We have 2 officers that need the vests, and I'd like to get them ordered while we still have the grant. They pay half, we pay, we pay half, and the grant pays half. And the other thing was the,
All of it, and they reimburse
Right.
and the other thing is, and again, it's approved in equipment, we have to get, some of our equipment is expired. Some of their defensive equipment is expired, so it has to be repurchased. It has to
Did
be
you-
repurchased.
Did they give us a list of this
Yeah, it's
Prices?
basically the,
and prices before we did the budget?
oh, yeah.
And
Yeah,
budgeted
we
already.
just,
We
we
budgeted for it.
budgeted for it. Yeah,
Well,
it's
then
budgeted for.
then Why
Yeah.
aren't they getting it?
Well, no, I'm just asking, I'll have them order it from 9/11, and we'll have the
Okay.
pepper spray for them.
Okay.
I did have one more item here. 2.7.2 per se violations.
2.7.2,
.2.
here, okay.
I'd like to remove the possessions of weapons line.
No.
Oh, no. You added last time except for the constables. That's the line
Yes.
you added. Yeah.
Yes.
No, I don't think anyone
I don't
should
feel
have
that
weapons.
anyone should be carrying weapons.
I disagree.
Tom?
It's a board decision, but typically, most municipalities don't permit their employees, other than constables or peace officers to carry weapons in the workplace.
Weapons to me could be a hand grenade, a machine
Could be
gun.
anything.
So we're going to approve anyone out there that works for us to carry these things.
This policy
No.
carves out pocket knives and also
Right.
constables.
Right,
Right.
right.
We got too many kids at the park to.
Right, I mean,
Have that in.
there is, in the town code, you can't carry nobody can carry a firearm in the town park, with the exception of peace officers
true.
and police officers.
That's true.
And I know there was an issue, I don't know how many years ago, quite a few years ago, that one of the employees, I'm not even going to mention what department they were in, was carrying a shotgun and got caught jacking deer. No, I don't believe anyone should be carrying weapons in a town vehicle.
Especially these days.
Now, you say that, John, but statistics point out that so-called weapons-free zones are involved in 97% of workplace violent incidents. You set the employees up as sitting targets, and anybody who is intent on causing harm is not going to have any regard for a policy that we put in place.
You mean an employee?
Correct.
We shouldn't have them hired.
We shouldn't
I
have
mean-
them working
I mean,
here.
That is true, which is why that policy is in place, because we want to catch the ones that do still have some regard. You will always have, unfortunately.
Well, what you're doing is you're putting the rest of the employees in a position of being a sitting target, or if an employee, and we pass this regulation, so chooses that his personal safety is more important than the policy, then if there is a situation at hand where he could come to the aid of another employee, he would have to make the decision on whether he wants to be fired or help that employee. In my mind, we have a Second Amendment that allows you to defend yourself. We have more and more heads of police departments, including our own Sheriff Anderson, that are stating that the individual should defend themselves if they're capable until the police have time to arrive because of their manpower shortages.
Well,
This goes dead set against that, and I'm opposed to it.
Well, Steve, I'm going to put it this way. I know a lot of police officers. I've got them in my family. And if you give a gun to somebody and they don't know what the hell they're doing, you're just endangering that police
I
officer.
never suggested
and
we give
themselves.
guns to anybody.
But, if you have a person, our constables go through training annually. Every year, they have to qualify, they have to go through everything that a police
I'm
officer
not talking
has
about
to do.
guns specifically.
But I'm just saying that, these people are trained as to how to handle it and how to handle themselves. To allow others, if they're not trained, they could be more of a detriment than a help.
Can you quote me any instances where that's been the case? Can you tell me of any instances where that has been the case?
Not off the top of my head, no. But I can tell you, there are a lot of police officers that are very much in favor of, restricting.
Well, I can tell you
weapons
that there's
because
a lot of them that are in favor of the
Well, I
armed
tell you what,
armed citizen.
I don't want to see my son or my daughter-in-law walking up to a house and getting blown.
No, nobody wants to see that, Dave. I don't know why you
But,
would consider saying what my suggestion has anything to do with that.
Because you could have somebody down in the park and they could see an off-duty cop and say, oh, that guy has a gun. Boom.
That's not how it works, Dave.
Sometimes
Tell
it
me
does.
tell me when that's happened.
I think we're getting
All
nowhere.
right.
Either
Yeah.
side of that argument could be argued all night.
Yeah,
Right.
we can vote on it.
Right.
Yep.
On either end of it.
We can vote on it. Anything else? Should I make a motion to vote on this one particular thing right here
I think so.
first,
Which,
before we go any further, because we're gonna vote on the employee handbook?
Or make a motion.
How do we vote on something we haven't seen a revised copy of?
We're voting on it with all these revisions put in place.
I'd rather see the handbook with the revisions in it.
And put it off for another month.
Another,
One meeting.
meeting.
Can Mary have the amended copy
she
then?
could have a finalized amended copy
Right?
of the next meeting.
Small.
It is beneficial to have it completely finished.
Mhm.
And-
Ready to
Yeah,
say
in print,
our
what we're
amended,
agreeing to.
that last line filled in, which says adopted by the town board on blah blah date, that should be completed with next meeting, assuming that it's
Okay, so what we need to do now is make a motion to vote on having Mary put these changes in. I'm not gonna have her put changes in and then have everyone come back and say, no, that's not what I wanted. We'll have to change it again.
Right.
I mean, this has been going on for how long? Almost over a year ago, I asked everyone to take and make some changes to the handbook and take sections, and that never happened. We did, I think, 2 sections, and it never happened. So Mary has worked on this. Everyone's had it for over a month now.
No, February 22nd, I received mine. That's not exactly a month.
Okay.
what if I made a motion that we table Resolution 17-30 to, what's the next meeting?
April 6th.
April 6th, where we'll vote on it.
Right. Want to vote on the changes that she needs to make. We can't just hand it to her and say, these are definitely the changes. We need to vote on what the changes need to be right
Right.
now.
Okay.
So then she can finalize it, and it can be done at the next meeting. So I will make a motion to change all that Tom Jacobellis sent us, the few changes that he had, and the few changes that Karina did, and there were, Steve wanted
2 of mine don't need to be in there. I'll X them out for Mary.
the one with,
The dental one and the standards of conduct, Tom clarified.
Right.
The wording covered it,
so 2 of yours
Yeah.
don't need
Otherwise,
it.
all of hers were good.
2.8 and dental don't need to be there.
Right, otherwise, all of yours were good. Steve wanted other than equipped hardwired radios.
Right.
And we'll go with that. And he wanted recreation director and head groundskeeper split into
Separated.
two
Yeah,
lines.
That was good.
I agree with that.
Yeah. Clarifies.
As far as the weapons, we can do a roll call vote right now. Do
I
we
think we
want to
should.
allow our employees to carry weapons? Andrea?
Councilman Walsh,
I'll say no.
Councilman Kelly,
No.
Supervisor Thompson,
No.
Councilman Morris.
No.
Councilman Frazier.
I would like to revise that, it's not, we don't allow them to, but just remove that line from the handbook.
What line is that?
That they're not allowed to. So therefore, they would be allowed to. That would be the opposite of that. The line
No,
is,
I
the
vote
line,
yes.
the entire line
Okay.
says possession of weapons, including but not limited to firearms, explosives, or knives, except for pocket knives on town property or in town vehicles, except for constables. Because the except for constables is our new wording.
Right.
And I'll
Steve would like
state again that I've been researching this since 1985, It's been a very interesting topic to me, and statistics that are readily available prove this to be wrong.
Okay, so the vote is no. And we all agree to make the changes that Tom Jacobellis sent everyone? It's just softer wording. We all agree on that?
Yes.
Yes.
Someone want a second?
I'll second it, yeah, I'll second it.
I'll second it.
Now roll call vote for that?
Okay, Councilman Welch?
Yes.
Councilwoman Kelly? Supervisor Hopkins?
Aye.
Councilman McMorris?
Yes.
Councilman Frazier?
Yes.
Okay, so the new employee handbook.
We're almost there.
Should be ready and done at the next meeting.
So since, just a question, this is a Tom question, I guess, since it's not a resolution, because we're postponing it to the next meeting, we just put it through as a motion, do we now change the numbers on our next resolutions?
Yeah, the MS4 will have to be 30, right?
Yeah, MS4 will be
Okay.
30.
All right.
And I believe that 32 is going to get tabled too.
Okay. 32 was,
It was about
29,
Right.
right.
That's off the
All right,
top
so
board.
this one is gonna be tabled, 29 is gonna be tabled?
29, I don't have a 29.
30 is going to be tabled,
30 is being tabled. 30 is
and
passing
32
the
is going to
employee
be
handbook.
tabled.
I think it's 29 at the last meeting.
What's 29?
That was last time.
Oh,
Right.
I have 30 other things to revise employee handbook.
Okay,
30
I got the
All
wrong
right.
numbers on mine.
all right.
Yeah, because I gave the to this office. But that one-
Oh,
I forgot to
okay.
make that other motion.
And I didn't get the revised copy. Okay,
All right, so 31's the new 30.
MS4 coordination.
okay. You got that, Andrea? Okay. So the motions, do they have to be numbered, Tom?
Yeah, we'll keep it for town clerks.
You just renumber
Okay.
everything
Yeah, don't worry.
and let us know. All right, John, can you read?
I sure can. Resolution number 1730, appointment of Dutchess County MS4 voting representative. Whereas Dutchess County MS4 Coordinator Committee, DC MS4CC, Dutchess County Soil and Water Conservation, DCWCD, is requesting that each municipality submit documentation of who they have chosen as their voting representative for the DC MS4CC, and whereas each municipality is also requested to appoint any alternate voting member in the case of their primary voting member is not available to attend the MS4 meeting, and whereas the primary voting member must be a municipal employee and the alternate voting member may be a consultant if the municipality so chooses. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board of the town of Unionville hereby appoints George Cobe as the town of Unionville as their representative for the DCMS4CC, and be it further resolved that the town of Unionville hereby appoints their engineering consultant as the town of Unionville alternate voting member of the DCMS4CC.
I'll second it.
Town board discussion? Roll call vote?
Councilman Welch?
Aye.
Councilwoman Kelly?
Yes.
Supervisor Hopkins?
Aye.
Councilman McMorris?
Aye.
Councilman Frazier?
Aye.
Okay. Jana?
Okay, so this isn't the one being tabled?
No,
The
to
55?
approve the Realtor.
Okay.
And, before we do that, I did get the appraisal.
Oh, good.
Well, a preliminary appraisal. The whole book will be coming for the 3 lots from the appraiser.
Should we not mention the amount
And,
on TV, so?
No, we're not gonna mention the
potential
amount, but I
buyers-
just wanna let you know that I
Yeah.
got the appraisal. And now what we need to do is approve a Realtor. And then when I sit down with the Realtor, I can hand them this appraisal and say, this is what the lots need to be sold for. So I've called 3 different realtors. Of course, I gave you all copies from the Houlihan and Lawrence.
Yes.
The Berkshire Hathaway sent me very little information. He just sent me things from other properties in the area that sold. And it was like kind of a hassle getting a hold of him. And the third one that I had called never responded, never called me back. So I think that we should go with the Houlihan and Lawrence, who went and did all this work and is offering us a lower rate than anyone too.
Yeah, it sounds like a good reason to select them.
So now you can read that, then you can put Houlihan and Lawrence.
Yeah, there you go. Let's see. Resolution 1731, authorizing and approving listing of property for sale. Whereas the town of Unionville is in ownership of a piece of property located on Route 55, and whereas the town of Unionville desires to explore the option of selling this piece of property on Route 55 to generate funds for the town of Unionville and to place the property back on the tax rolls, and whereas the town of Unionville desires to list the property for sale with a commercial real estate broker to explore funds to purchase. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the town board of the town of Unionville hereby authorizes the town supervisor to execute a listing agreement for the sale of a vacant parcel of land on Route 55 in the town of Unionville with Houlihan Lawrence.
I'll second it.
Town board discussion? Roll call vote?
Councilman Welch?
Aye.
Councilwoman Kelly? Yes. Supervisor Thompson?
Aye.
Councilman McMorro?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, that concludes the resolutions for tonight. Public comments on non-agenda items. Next town board meeting, April 6, 2017.
Could I make one comment?
Sure.
I would like to see if we could look into some shared services with Unionville Fire District, with our park people. Dave and I have talked about
Yes.
this a little. Potentially, it could be beneficial to both us and them. Possibly, we could work out some arrangement for snow plowing and maybe mowing. Neither would be too overwhelming of an assignment for our people, and I think it would be financially beneficial to us as a town and to the fire district. Bottom line, the taxpayer, I think, would be the winner here, so I'd like to look further into it and see if we can work out some kind of arrangement.
I did speak to Jake about it.
Oh, good.
Yesterday, after I spoke to you on the phone about it, I spoke to Jake about it, and I explained it a little bit to him, and he said he didn't think it would be a problem for them to do it, and it would be a win-win, because, like, the highway superintendent was here saying the money then would go into their fund for buying new equipment.
Yes, yeah.
And, you know, I don't know how much you paid the contractor to do it, but
Yeah,
I'm sure you
well,
could work something out.
yeah.
And I just wanted to make sure that's legal to do.
The shared service?
Yeah,
With
fire
fire
department
department?
with
But
parks.
Fire
they would
district,
be
yeah.
paying
Fire district.
Yeah.
The fire,
to do it.
the fire district would be making in lieu of tax payment to the town.
It could be worked out.
Okay.
It would.
And we'll, then, yeah, like I said, I spoke to Jake, and he said it wouldn't be a problem. They have 3 trucks.
The only thing
With
is,
plows
he'd
and
have to
sanders.
have it a priority. I mean, obviously, the parks aren't a priority.
Of
in a
course, the
snowstorm,
park's not a priority.
But
I
the
don't even
firehouse
know
is,
that the town hall is a priority
right.
in a case
Yeah.
like that.
But luckily, our highway guys stepped up in this big storm to do it, because otherwise we couldn't have gotten our emergency vehicles out quickly at all. So-
Right, but in other cases, I would rather leave the highway guys out on the road.
Oh, I know, I agree.
You know,
It's a
if
shame
we
they had to
can
do anything
utilize,
extra.
right, if we
Yeah.
could utilize the park for something like that, that would be more,
But you find out the hard way, sometimes contractors don't live up to their commitments,
Right.
And sometimes the situation can get very ugly or difficult.
Mhm.
Okay, thanks for your encouragement.
Yeah, I did speak to Jake, and he's on board, and we'll work things out. Hopefully, we don't have to use him this year, but
Let's hope not.
I'd like to go back to that piece of property up on the mountain
Pleasant
there for a
Ridge.
second, yeah. Think we should see if the fire department has any interest in that before we make any decisions on that as well. It might be something they could use.
Could ask them, yeah.
Yeah.
John, didn't they have a promise? The fire district had a promise to use that property, but they had a time frame.
I'm not aware of that. It could have been, that, but I'm not aware of it.
At the top.
As far as I know, they have no plans for anything up there, but we could run it by them before it's gone. Could even sell it to them.
we could sell it to the fire department. They could put a garage with one engine, so they didn't have to pull that hill.
Well, that was kind of my thought. They do that in East Fishkill. They have quite a few satellite stations in that type of situation.
Mm-hmm.
There was a plan to do that many, many years ago. 1 or 2
And
decades.
Carlos wouldn't have to go so far for the engine.
Yeah?
They did a really good job pulling that hill when the fire was up there. They did what they needed to do. Okay.